Hi everyone, it's James here from Pro Tools Expert, and welcome to my kind of review, kind of show and tell, kind of experimentation into movement by Output. Now up until movement, Output have probably been best known for their virtual instruments. This is their first kind of exploration into effects, and they've done an amazing job. But to say this thing is bizarre, bonkers, and incredibly creative would be three of the biggest understatements of today so far. So I'm going to try and take you through this thing using audio as the example and allowing you to hear some of the creativity and some of the amazing things this thing will allow you to do. Hopefully then you can apply movement in your projects and just experiment and go completely and utterly bonkers. So we've got three audio examples, a clean guitar, a dirty guitar and a Hammond part for you to have a listen to. We'll start with the clean guitar part. It sounds like this, very innocuous and very naff. And let's get into some movement. Take it out of bypass, and the first thing we're going to do is run through some presets. Click over here and I've got my two sections of my preset menu, tags and presets. Now tags are cumulative, so if I click on rhythmic, evolving and pulses, it really does cut my list down quite a lot. So if those are the kind of words I'm looking for in my crazy effects, great place to start. I'm going to start with rhythmic and plucking around. It seems to be a good place to start as it's the first one. Let's have a listen to some of the craziness as we go through these presets. Now I've got a wet-dry blend up here, which means I can parallel process. I've got an input and an output control. Cool. We'll start with this one, and then the first thing we're going to do is close off the preset menu, and you'll see we have A and B in a kind of XY pad thing going on here. Now the cool thing with this is I can control the effects in real time. So if I play back, and you can see the effects that I'm controlling because they've got this little logo here, meaning I'm controlling them using the XY slider. So let me try and explain how we're creating some of the craziness. Movement is divided up into two engines, A and B. And each engine can have two separate rhythm generators in it. Now those rhythm generators can be a step sequencer, an LFO, or sidechain. Now the step sequencer can be completely random. It can be pattern based. The LFOs can be pretty much any shape you like. And then we have the sidechain. Now, the two things I really like in this are the fact that they can be completely random, and there is also this amazing thing called flux. Now, I'm not entirely sure how flux works, but I do know it's a bit like pressing the crazy button, so we'll accept that and move on. What we can also have is up to 4 effects per engine. Now, if I click on Add Effect, I've already got a filter, so I can't have 2 filters in each one, but I can have up to 4 effects: delays, EQs, distortion, compression, and reverb. Let's add some reverb. I can get in and tweak that, so let's have a listen. Go back to my filter effect. And let's get in and start to control this. So I'm going to use Rhythmic Engine 2. I'm going to set it to an LFO. That'll do for me. And you can see it's going pretty rapidly. So let's slow that down a little bit. We can slow the rate down here. There we go, down to 8 bars. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that to control the resonance of my filter. How cool is this? We're not only messing around with effects, we're kind of doing synthesis here. So let's have a listen to how that sounds. I think this thing is absolutely incredible. It's totally bonkers, but predictable in a weird sort of way. So let's move on to this distorted guitar part I've got. I'll bypass so you can hear just how the guitar part sounds on its own. Pretty naff. And back in. Oh, I like that. Very cool. Mess around with that in the XY. Let's use that step sequencer to control the feedback delay. Turn the amount up. Let's change the resonance with that. Doesn't sound like guitar anymore. It sounds really interesting. It sounds incredible. The scope in here is just utterly bonkers. There's everything you could ever imagine to get your fairly lifeless, flat parts sounding really interesting and giving them, well, you guessed it, some movement. So let's dive onto this Hammond part now. And I'll bypass it so you can hear how it did sound. Out of bypass. I think this thing is incredible. I can see this being used so much on my projects. One of the things I hate most about modern music is very often you can hear a particular keyboard being used or a particular plugin preset that just jumps at you and says, I know exactly what that is. Really sad. People aren't using their creativity. And that's one of the things that movement is going to allow you to do. Become very original and very creative really, really quickly. It's bonkers, but I love it. So there you go, that's movement by output. This thing is totally crazy, totally bonkers, but I totally love it. So I've been James from Pro Tools Expert, and I'll see you again soon for some more gear talk.